Hey bald ones, I'm Lucy, and this is Pussy Powered. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the most common reasons that more women don't masturbate, or as I like to call it, self-pleasure. If you've seen some of my other videos, you probably know that I am a huge fan of self-pleasure. It's in our self-pleasure practice that we discover more of what we like, more of what works for us, more of what arouses us, different ways, deeper ways, more fulfilling ways to experience our own pleasure without having to wait on any other person outside of ourselves to figure it out for us. And of course, there are all the benefits of the dopamine and the oxytocin, all the good feelings that you get after having an orgasm. Having a self-pleasure ritual also helps us to practice releasing resistance, as orgasm can only be experienced with surrender, which translates into every other area of life. Self-pleasure also gets our sexual energy going and flowing and growing. And our sexual energy is our life force energy, our power to create, like literally create human life, but also to create any other thing in our lives that we really want. And people who self-pleasure report more satisfying sex and deeper connection with their partners. And yet, a lot of women are not self-pleasuring. According to the world's largest masturbation survey, statistics in the US show that 92% of men masturbate, while just 76% of women do. And in fact, we're not the only country to reflect these 90-ish percentiles to 70-ish percentiles from men to women. So what is going on? Why do women self-pleasure less than the men do? Well, here are 7 of the most common reasons. 1. Time. Between kids oftentimes and work, doing things around the house, running errands, building a business if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, which is an endless demand on your time, as are children. All of these things can feel like there is no time. When you're already struggling to fit in some exercise and some self-care and make some healthy meals, it's like, how the hell am I supposed to fit in some time to go touch myself? And this is definitely the #1 barrier that I personally hear of from many women, that they struggle to find the time. In reality, we make time for the things that are really important to us, the things that we believe will make an impact on our lives, but I'll get to more of that later. To overcome the time obstacle, figure out what time of the day you can carve out just for yourself, even if it's just 5, 10, or 15 minutes. The key is to show up consistently for yourself and building that trust, building your sensitivity, building your connection with yourself and with your pussy. This may also require you to set some new boundaries in your relationship and in your family dynamic, asking for the support of your family members in you investing this time in yourself, whether they know exactly what you're doing or not. The second thing that gets in the way is space, a lack of space, like physical space. If you don't have a place to go that is yours, that is sacred, that you can release and breathe without worrying about your child or your partner walking in on you, then that definitely puts a damper on your self-pleasure. And this is the second most common challenge that I hear from a lot of women, that they don't have their own space to do their self-pleasure practices. This, just like with time, is also workable. To overcome this obstacle, again, communication and boundaries. Asking for support from your family members is absolutely critical. Otherwise, there's always going to be this little sense of pressure looming, and you're not going to be able to fully let go. And I'm telling you, communicating your needs, your desires, and your boundaries will serve you in every area of your life. Like I've said before, your self-pleasure ritual and the way that you actually self-pleasure is a big reflection of how you do things in your life as a whole. Now, you may need to get creative on your space. If, for example, you still sleep with your children, or you share a room with your entire family, or you have a roommate, then what you can do is, again, communicate your request clearly, asking for however long you want, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, to have the space for yourself, and requesting for that space to be honored so that you can be fully present with yourself. The third thing that could be getting in the way is shame or guilt about masturbating in the first place, especially if you've had any sex negative or sex shaming mindsets or beliefs or attitudes towards sex and towards self-pleasure. This is not something that just vanishes overnight when you decide to start a self-pleasure ritual. It is a continuous and conscious awareness of your beliefs and your emotions and the energies that you feel in your body. And interestingly enough, having a self-pleasure ritual can help provide that space mentally, emotionally, and physically to reconnect with any energies that you have bottled up and unprocessed emotions. Now, if you had specific sexual traumas in the form of being sexually shamed for touching yourself, for wanting to be naked, for wanting to pleasure yourself in any other way, then again, I encourage you to examine what those beliefs are. What do you believe about sex? What do you believe about your body, about your femininity, about your sexuality? And bring those beliefs to the light. Become aware of them. Write them down. Ask yourself, does this serve me in what I want next? Does this serve me in becoming the most powerful, free me that I can be? And for more on some common beliefs that get in the way of our own pleasure and sexual empowerment, check out this video. The fourth thing that could be getting in the way is discomfort or pain. If you have pain or numbness or discomfort in your pussy, of course you're not gonna wanna explore things in there. Our pussies and our wombs tend to hold the unprocessed emotions, things that we have maybe been too afraid to let ourselves feel. All of that stuff gets in the way of our pleasure. Since we cannot selectively numb emotions when we numb ourselves to the pain and the uncomfortable things in our lives, we are also numbing ourselves to the joy and the love and the pleasure. So to help get past this particular hurdle, I highly encourage you to check out this video for steps on de-armoring your pussy. Whether the numbness or discomfort or pain is coming from a physical response to a trauma, such as childbirth-related traumas, or it's a shutdown of your pussy because of sexually shaming beliefs or mindsets. The de-armoring process is a powerful way to awaken the aliveness of your pussy, to get her to feel again so that she can move through the discomfort into a more neutral space and then into pleasure. The fifth common thing getting in the way of more women masturbating is a potentially unsupportive or jealous partner. Now, while a lot of men say that they think it's really hot for their lovers to masturbate, especially in front of them, a lot of times they do get a little bit jealous and feel left out when she is self-pleasuring. And this is actually a fantastic opportunity to address things in the relationship like codependency, unrealistic expectations, unclear communication, unspoken resentments. Your sexuality is the most sacred and accurate mirror of what is going on in your life. Again, that bears repeating. So to overcome this particular obstacle, try simply having a legit, honest, heart-to-heart, vulnerable conversation with your lover. Let him or her know that they are still desired, that they are still wanted, that they're gonna get to benefit from your sexual exploration. Personally, it wasn't until I had been doing several months of consistent daily self-pleasuring before I could orgasm during sex. So again, clear communication, clear boundaries, clear requests, ask for what you want, ask for what you need. And most likely, if you have a generally loving and supportive partner, they want you to be happy. They want you to feel good. And he or she just needs to hear from you that this is something that's actually gonna help you with that, not something that's gonna take away from your relationship. The sixth thing potentially getting in the way is that you just don't believe it's that important. It's just not a priority. And now if this is the case, then just get brutally honest with yourself. This just does not matter to me. Maybe you feel like it should matter to you more and it just doesn't, or maybe if you get really brutally honest with yourself, you really, really want it, but there's this resistance that you don't believe that you can have it. And so you tell yourself that you really don't want it that bad when deep down you really, really do. But if it's just not that important to you, then of course it's not gonna happen. So this is a great opportunity to figure out if this is something that you actually want or something that you just really just not a priority. And if it is not a priority right now, but you do want it, that is totally normal and it's okay. And the only way to build from that is to accept where you are right now while being real with yourself about what you want. And at some point, if you're gonna get to this, you make a decision to begin moving towards it. It can be baby steps. Again, it can be 5 minutes a day. A lot of times we get in our heads about how hard something is gonna be and how long it's gonna take and how much effort it's gonna take. And so we totally talk ourselves out of it and we psych ourselves out, and then we're like, well, fuck it, I'm never even gonna start because what's the point? But if you make something doable for you, small chunks of time that you can invest in yourself consistently, that will go a long, long, long way. A seventh thing that could potentially get in the way of more women masturbating more is fear. So many different fears can come up when you get brutally honest with yourself. The fear that it somehow makes you a bad person to masturbate. The fear that you'll somehow damage or ruin your relationship. The fear that you'll damage your partner's ego. The fear that you'll look for your pleasure and not be able to find it. The fear that you will find deep, intense pleasure and then you'll somehow become addicted. Or that you'll become dissatisfied with your sex life. Or that the things you do with your partner now won't work later. It's totally normal to have fear. In fact, if you don't have any fears around this whole process, then there's probably a lot more emotional and spiritual and energetic depth to be explored. Again, what? Our sexuality is the clearest mirror into everything else in our lives. Our willingness to receive, our willingness to release resistance, our willingness to create what it is that we want, our willingness to commit to ourselves and our own expansion and healing and growth. So to move through this obstacle, truly you have to move through it. You can't just bypass it and shove the fear to the side. You've got to look at your fears in the face, acknowledge that they're there, practice the courage to have the tough conversations with your lover, with your family members, and with yourself. And with time, as you keep courageously taking step after step after step towards your freedom, your empowerment, and your pleasure, those things won't seem quite so scary anymore. And if you're a woman watching this and you really want to have some kind of self-pleasure ritual, but one or more of these things are keeping you from having one, I encourage you to visit my channel and check out the playlist Pussy Love and Sexual Healing. Simply immersing yourself in these concepts and the idea of self-pleasuring can be a huge step forward. After all, pleasure and orgasm happen in the mind, in your brain, and it's up to you to feed your mind things that will support your expansion and your growth and your pleasure. All right, wild ones, that is it for today. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these has gotten in the way of your self-pleasure? If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more videos on sexual empowerment and healing for women. In the meantime, here's to your unleashing for a pussy-powered life.